Hello everyone, this is the Atlanta Sports Podcast. My name is Frankie Maloof, and I am joined by Luke Winstel once again. Today we're going to have two separate episodes, in case you're wondering. It does show up as two in the iTunes Store or wherever you may find us. Remember to check us out on our website, atlantasportspodcast.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, at ATL Sportscasts. So in this first episode, we're just going to talk about the Hawks and the Falcons and a little bit of college football at the end. Then we'll give you a separate episode for your Atlanta Braves later on. So with the Falcons, they just opened training camp July 28th. So they've had a couple weeks of it. Luke, are there any stories going on right now with training camp that may pique our interest?
There are several interesting stories, and the most interesting one to me is that Dwight Freeney has chosen the Falcons as his team for 2016. It's very exciting news. He's amassed so many sacks over his career. It's just making my mouth water just thinking about it as a Falcons fan, because we haven't had a sack man since John Abraham, and it's been a while since we've had him. So nice to get someone that can rush the passer and teach other players, whether they be offensive linemen or defensive linebackers, linemen, how to rush the passer.
Now, teaching, that's an interesting point, because some Falcons fans may not have been too happy because he's getting a little bit older. But I agree with you. I think he's a good teacher. If anything else, even if he has a slow year, he's important to be able to be there to help teach the young players so that we can one day continue to have lots of sacks in the future.
In no way is this a bad signing, in my opinion. I believe that this cannot go wrong by any means, because with Freeney, it's like even if he doesn't play a single snap, I still consider it successful, because you're basically paying him to coach other players. And doing that teaching job, I think, is just as important as doing his job on the field. Some people are expecting what he did last year. He had 8 sacks in 11 games, but I'm expecting less than that. You just have to temper your expectations as a fan, and if you have low expectations and someone surpasses them, it makes you feel better about your team. So I think for Dwight Freeney, if he could get 4 or 5 sacks this year and play in at least 10 to 12 games, I consider it a successful signing. I don't think this is bad in any way. I can't find a negative side to this at all.
So, with him getting the 4 to 5 sacks, how many do you think the rest of the team has to amass to consider a major step forward for the rest of the team?
I say 25.
25 sacks.
That's 6 more than we had last year. Shows improvement, and I think that that's coming from players like Vic Beasley getting more. I don't see him as a double-digit sack man this season. I'm not sure if he'll have enough help, but that comes from just the assortment of guys. And I think after this season, 30 in minimum, just because the team's got to get better in that department.
So you're saying we got to build year after year?
Definitely. Yep.
Well, there's nowhere to go but up from where they were last year.
Exactly. And if they go down, we are in major trouble.
So the other point we were going to talk about was who gets the carries at running back. Obviously, they had a good year last year with Devontae Freeman. He broke onto the scene, and then we drafted Tevin Coleman, but then he wasn't able to play up to his speed most of the season. He got hurt for
when a guy slips in a shower, I'm going to lose some respect for you, especially if you can't play in a football game.
But I think that this year, statistically, we might have a down year compared to last year. But I think that the offense as a whole will get better from the running backs, because if you take the running backs and are now able to balance it out, everybody knows we have a good running attack. If we balance that out and then we go take Matt Ryan and he has his Julio Jones and Mohamed Sanu at wide receiver.
Yeah, Ryan's got everything he needs to be successful. It's time for him to finally step up.
So I think that the offense will be a lot better. The pass rush will be a lot better. But how will the running backs be involved in the passing game on offense?
Well, that's a very interesting point. If you've been following the Falcons' Twitter at all throughout training camp, you'll see them posting videos of Tevin Coleman lining up as a wide receiver, running a route straight down the field to go catch a touchdown pass. That was a big hit on Twitter last Friday. I was actually at that training camp. It was a job well done. Matt Ryan couldn't have thrown the ball better. And for those of you concerned about his arm, he threw a 50-plus yard bomb to Coleman, so just don't be concerned anymore. He's fine. He can do it. So everything was good on that play. I've also seen him throw to Devonta, and Also, Tevin, other running backs on the depth chart. So it looks like they're really looking to use the running backs more in the passing game, they being Kyle Shanahan. So I think both of them will be more involved than last year. Not sure how much usage they'll get, just because that's the nature of training camp. They're trying it out, and it's working. So I think it's going to be more of a threat. They'll be more of a threat in the passing game.
And we're not going to get too much further into the Falcons. I will remind you, in a few weeks, we are going to release a Falcons preview show. We will talk all about the Falcons, so we'll get more into the Falcons later. Right now, we'll move on to the Atlanta Hawks. So, what needs to happen for them to go deep? I know we probably talked about this before. The Hawks have been good, but they're not quite over the hump. They haven't been able to get over that hump yet.
Yeah, right now, this question is not the same question it was back before free agency or during free agency. It's really a different question. It's not who do we need to bring in, or who do we need to trade for, or who needs to get better. Now it's all about who's going to step up as a player, as a leader. So people are going to have to do this. Dwight Howard is the first name that comes to mind. He's going to probably need to have a better year than he did last year with Houston, statistically and as a leader. Other guys would be Dennis Schroeder needs to be consistent, first of all, which is two words not often used in the same sentence. But he needs to be consistent, and Jarrett Jack needs to be a solid backup for him, because I think point guard is going to be the biggest hole on this roster. So I think if those two things go right, everything will fall into place. Bazemore, Corver, Cephalosha, Millsap, guys like that will all kind of fall into place as long as the 1 and the 5 positions go well.
And there's no way they're going to win 60 games this year.
Most likely not. Unless what I just said happens, if they all step up and become very good, consistent players. But it seems very unlikely, but if they can step up to some measure, it's going to help the team probably get to the 48 win mark that they saw last season.
And I think we are looking at a 4 seed, maybe a 3 seed if we're good.
And a 5 seed or a 6 seed at worst.
So yeah, they'll make the playoffs again this year. They'll be fine. It's just a question of how they will perform once they get there. Because if they don't make the playoffs this year, then they're in for some major looking at stuff.
Yeah, possibly rebuilding. I know we don't want to use that word because now we're using it with the Braves, and we're not happy with that.
But they'll make the playoffs, but once they get there, something always seems to happen that turns them off. They got swept by the Cavaliers 2 years ago. The Cavaliers went on this year to win the NBA championship. So there's just something they have to get over the hump this year to at least get to that NBA championship. I know most people will expect the Warriors to win this year with the amount of star power they have there, but the Hawks need to show that they're still a contender.
Okay. Yeah, another question with the Hawks. I know we just said who needs to step up because it's likely that they're done with roster moves, but the question right now, are they really done? Could you see them making one more trade? Just, yes or no answer. Does it seem likely to you at all?
I'm gonna say no, which means they are gonna make a trade. So,
okay.
I'll still say no. I'll stick with my answer.
Yeah, some potential trade rumors swirling around. I'm not sure how much of this is a smokescreen, how much of this is writers just wanting the Hawks to give them something to have championship aspirations about, but there's a Rudy Gay trade rumor out there. I think it could be interesting if the Hawks could acquire him. I don't think they'd have to pay very much in terms of a price to get him, but it could be interesting to watch that. So keep your eyes on some articles that may come out from newspapers, online blogs about Rudy Gay, just because my opinion on him is kind of mixed. I think he'll be good, but at the same time, he'll bring a little bit of inconsistencies. And I'm not really sure how we'll find playing time for him unless we trade one of our starters or very high bench players away. So just, keep your eyes on that. It could be very interesting to see what goes down. I've heard rumors about different draft picks being traded. So it will be interesting what happens with the Hawks. But I personally think it would be best for them to be done. Just leave it, let your team kind of gel, and try to get better.
We'll get in just a quick note about college football. We are now officially less than 1 month away. The season officially starts for most teams September 3rd. Some of them get the Thursday and Friday games. We will also do a college football preview show, so please listen to that. In a few weeks, we will release one of those. And also a reminder to go download our Braves show today. We did a separate one for the Braves, so please go download and listen to that one as well. Thank you very much for listening to the Atlanta Sports Podcast.